Hi, and welcome to another episode of Rob's Triathlon Tips for Beginners. This is a video about putting a wetsuit on and taking it off for a race. So, I'm in my tri suit, like most people would be for a race, and this is my wetsuit here. I've always had the same sort of cheap wetsuit from a company called Mountain Equipment Co-op. It's not even a triathlon specific wetsuit. And it's stiff in the arms, but it's always worked for me, so I just kept using it. Maybe I'll upgrade to a fancy wetsuit made by Roka or something someday. But for now, this is what I've used for years. The first tip that I would give is if you have a race, you want to at least wear this in the pool, or if you're doing an open water swim in a lake a couple times before your race. And what that will do is loosen up the wetsuit. It'll be really stiff otherwise. If you don't have that opportunity before your race, you want to maybe soak your wetsuit in the bathtub and put it on in your bathroom just to loosen it up. It'll be super stiff. It might actually kind of be choking you a little bit otherwise if you haven't worn it in a year. So that's an important thing to consider. So to put on a wetsuit, I'll just step back here so I'm in the field of view. I start by getting one of my feet through. And an important tip that I have to give is pull your wetsuit up a little bit up your shin. You don't want it to start with it down low, because what can happen is you'll get your wetsuit on all the way up and it will just be like pulling you down because you didn't pull your wetsuit up high enough to start. Then you'll have to start all over again. It's actually way easier to pull your legs down in the end with your top being comfortable. So pull your wetsuit up a little higher to start. So now I will get my second foot through, and I'm just get that up about the same height there. And then I start to pull up the middle of the suit onto my hips. And with a wetsuit, you work it bit by bit or you risk ripping it. So you just sort of grab the wrinkles in your legs and you kind of bubble them up your leg until there's no more wrinkles. So I've got that leg good. I'm pulling it up on my hips. Look on this leg. And so far, so good. I've gotten to this point where I feel comfortable in my crotch. You might have to start all over again if you're already feeling uncomfortable here. So now I'm ready to get my arms through. This is up on my hips as high as it goes. Get my arms in one at a time. And this is just like your legs. You kind of grab a little bit of the wetsuit and you see the bubbles and you sort of work them up so that there's no more kind of wrinkles in your arm. You get your other arm in. And you can see the rolls, or the wrinkles, whatever you want to call it. You just sort of grab a little bit of your suit and pull. And eventually you get to the point where it's covering your upper body and you're not zipped up. And this is a good point to stop to discuss. One thing that's maybe a point of contention is do you cover your watch or not? And that's going to be a personal choice of yours. I personally like to uh, have my triathlon watch exposed because um, when I'm swimming, I like to take a peek at it. You can see it's backlit enough that I can see the total time, the distance I've traveled, and the pace that I'm swimming at. So I like to look at that when I'm in an open water swim. Other people don't care, and they argue that, oh, it's easier to get your wetsuit off if you cover your watch in your wetsuit. Then it won't get knocked off. I've never had that issue, and I like to look at the data as I'm swimming, so I always leave it out of my arm. And yeah, when you get out of the water at the end of the race, it makes it a little trickier to take your watch off. But if you're not concerned about, you know, 5 seconds, then then maybe this is better to leave it out. So now I've reached a point where it looks like this in the back. Uh, and one of the things that you may struggle with is getting that done up by yourself. So um, it's really easy to find a fellow competitor on race day to help zip you up in the back. Like they understand your struggle and they will absolutely help you. But if you are doing some open water training on your own in a lake and there's no one else around to help you, you want to practice this before you get in your car and drive an hour away from your house to go swim. The way that I've figured out how to do it is that you can see here that there's these sort of rubber flaps in the back of my wetsuit. And those always jam. So what I've learned is to tuck them in. I'm flexible enough that I can reach back, and I tuck the rubber flap in. Try to go all the way up to my collar, and then you can grab your leash or whatever you want to call it with a zipper on it, and you want to pinch as you pull. Pinch the zipper together as you pull up. Now you may get to the point where you get a little caught. You want to back the zipper off a little bit and then pull up. I've got that all the way done up. And the only way that that works on your own is if you tuck in that bit of rubber that's by the zipper, or you'll keep getting caught on it. And every time you get a little higher and you snag, you've got to just pull the zipper down just a little and take another run at it. Now, I personally like to just leave that zipper leash dangling during the race. It does have a little Velcro piece on it, so I can tuck it into the top here. Like your suit has Velcro at the top. You can tuck it in there. Like so. And then you've just got this loop, and you can grab that pretty easily when you're done your race and you want to get your suit off. I've also seen some people who will take the loop or the leash and they'll tuck it under their swim cap. And that makes it even easier to grab at the end of the race because it's just right there. You don't need to be overly flexible. That's kind of neat. I've never tried that, but you might want to try that as well. It's a little easier to grab. I just let it loose because I can always grab, and I'm pretty flexible and just sort of rotate my arm around and rip it. I definitely recommend when you're doing a race and you're doing training to get something called this is called Body Glide. It's anti-chafing. It kind of rolls on like underarm deodorant or antiperspirant. There's other products, but they're all the same concept. You rub them on where you're going to have potential chafing issues with your wetsuit. And so, one major area is your neck. Even with a well fitting wetsuit, you're going to be doing this in the swim a lot. You're going to get chafing all around your neck. So, I always, before I put my wetsuit on, I'll go all around my neck with this. And that prevents too much of a rash for the rest of your race. You don't want to be going, ah. This is also used to help you get your wetsuit off more quickly. If you're in a sprint or you're an Olympic or standard distance, and you're really concerned with saving all of the time that you can in transition. So people will put it wherever they need to pull their body out. So you could put some on your, oop, fell out. You could put some on your wrists to help you get your arms out faster, and also down on your shins and around your ankles. That way, when you go to pull your wetsuit off, it'll just slide right off. It's very lubricating. So in terms of getting your wetsuit off, you gotta get your leash and pull down, and it never snags when you're trying to get out. It's just when you're trying to get it on that it's a pain. And then what you would do is grab what I do. You can leave your cap and goggles on and just take them off next to your bike. But what I do is I take my cap and goggles off and I'll hold them in one of my hands. And then I will pull that arm out and then let go of the cap and goggles, and they will be stuck in your wetsuit in the sleeve. That way you're not worried about losing them at the end of your race. They'll still be in your wetsuit. But then you don't need to take that off in transition. That's like a very quick move to just grab this and leave it in your sleeve. So then this is the hand with my triathlon watch. So you can see, like, you get to this point and it kind of snags on your watch. And is it really a big deal? No, I just reach here and I pull it over. And it was like, a 1.5 second delay. So personally, I'm always going to have my watch outside of my wetsuit because I want to look at the data on it. So now is the fun part is really getting your legs out of the wetsuit. So I'll back up here and I'll show you the general gist of the technique, and you'll need to practice this. You may be in a race like a Ironman 70.3 or a full Ironman where there are volunteers, and when you get out of the water, you're going to get your wetsuit down to this state, and you may actually pull it down to below your butt, and then there may be volunteers to help strip your wetsuit off your legs. And if there are, that's fantastic. If there aren't, then you're going to have to do something similar to this. So I'll just adjust the camera again so it looks down. There we go. So you start getting the wetsuit down as far as you can, and I wedge my hands down the two sides of my calf, my shin, and that really helps you push the wetsuit down as low as it can go. So you can see on the side of my knee, I'm going to push down, down and down and down. And now the wetsuit is as far as it's going to go without using the next trick, which is, if you got something to hold on to, great. Hold on to the bike rack or a post, or if you got great balance, you don't need to hold on to anything. I got a wall here. So now what I'm going to do is pull one of my legs up as much as I can, put my foot down, pull the other leg up, and now what you can do is step on the wetsuit with one of your legs. So I'm going to put this right foot here, down next to my left foot, and it's going to give me the ability to pull more of my wetsuit off my leg. I'm going to put that leg down, sort of side step, put the right foot down again, and that leg is out. Now I can do the same to get my other leg out. And you're out. So those are the tricks of getting your wetsuit off and on. And of course, don't forget to wash your wetsuit after your race so it doesn't get really nasty because you want to reuse it for the future. Hopefully you found that video to be useful, and if you did, please give the video a like and share it with your friends who may benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to get notified of future videos. Make sure you hit that bell button and select all to get all notifications. Thank you.